So Gene Marks has literally had his last meal, or should I say his last cookie. So anyway, you guys, after finding out that Gene Marks was responsible for robbing her club, Madam goes to talk to Gene Marks and she tells him, she kind of questions him, why did you rob my club and why did you go to court to testify against me? And he says, well, I was forced to testify against you, but it was nothing personal. Well, we all knew that Gene Marks wanted to take over Madam's club, Club Eden. I mean, he has been talking about that since season one. But anyway, Madam proceeds to give Gene Marks some cookies. And of course, because Gene Marks is so greedy, he decided to eat the cookies anyway. Well, this is why you don't mess with Tommy's cookies. He proceeded to get basically choked out. He had an allergic reaction to some walnuts that were in the cookies, and that was a wrap. Gene Marks is up out of here, y'all. As we all know, this is what happens when you try to go up against Madam. He tried to steal her club. He tried to steal her land. Like, he was doing the most. So I guess he had to get got. So anyway, we see Blue. She's talking to her therapist. Her therapist is trying to basically get her to say how Madam is responsible for unaliving her girlfriend. And Blue is telling Dr. Cabrera, well, she didn't do it and she didn't tell me to do it. But Dr. Cabrera is breaking it down and saying, but you did it because of your boss. And so she says, well, no, not necessarily. But then Dr. Cabrera starts breaking it down, like asking Blue, is she in some shape, form, or fashion basically in love with Madam? Like, does she think that, there could be a possibility of Madam and Blue having an actual relationship? And so Blue is just kind of stunned at this statement. But then we see in court, Madam as well as Levitt as well as D.A. Roz. And D.A. Roz has this super cute Kool-Aid smile on her face. Like, when I tell y'all she looked like she just won $1 million, y'all, she was smiling from ear to ear. And of course, Madam is looking at her like, why is she smiling? Why is it, but Levitt has no idea what's about to go down. So then Levitt stands up and Rod stands up, court is in session, and they say they have another witness. Well, of course, Levitt tries to dispute this new witness. However, the judge is willing to hear what this witness has to say. And in sachets, or in walks Concierge, y'all. Concierge walking in with the big steppers, walking into the courtroom. As he looks at Madam, he literally flows through the audience, y'all. That's all I can say. But he comes with damaging evidence. He comes with evidence of Madam blowing up the halfway house, of Madam throwing the body out of the hospital window. And all of these videos have Madam in it. But then Levitt is like, but if you were able to delete her out of the frame, what's to say that you weren't able to add her to the picture? So he's trying to do the whole switcheroo process, but it's not really looking good, because at the end of the day, the jury has looked and seen that Madam was in the footage. So now Levitt has got another job that he has to do. He has to prove that Raphael Damascus basically is only here to save himself, because he is a former criminal as well. And it's not looking good at all at this very moment. It's not looking good. Levitt is trying his best. Like I said, he's trying to flip this thing on Raphael, but it's not working. And so we go and we see Madam and Concierge, and they're sitting outside having a conversation. Of course, initially Blue is there, but she walks away. She don't like that pretty nigga. So anyway, Madam is basically saying that you're here because you're ready to die, and Concierge told her you better be prepared to die as well. So Concierge is not playing around with Madam at this point. He knows what's at stake when he went in to testify against Madam, and he's willing to do what he has to do to stop her before she gets him. So back at the club, Madam is hiding from Tommy, and she's basically sitting in this room near the VIP section where she is trying to be zen. She's trying to focus. And so he comes in and says that Doc has something to tell you. So when Doc comes in, he tells Madam that he saw that new lady that worked down at Maddie B's talking to Gene Marks, and they were talking about taking your club from you. And when they get the money, they're going to leave town. And she's like, what lady? Who? Tony? And of course, Doc does not know who Tony is, but he says, whatever her name is, yeah, her. I saw her and her and G Marks and they were talking. So she says, okay, thanks for the info. So finally, y'all, we get a moment where Lovett is telling Madam, listen, I think you're going to have to take a plea. At this point, the jury has seen the evidence and it's not looking good for your case, madam. And she's telling him, but bruh, you better get me out because I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to prison. I'm not spending no time, not even a little bit. Anyway, y'all, that was just a quick recap of the whole scenario, the whole situation with Madam and all the shenanigans that she has going in. Please stay locked in because your girl will be back with some more recaps of what happened or how it all went down on the latest episode of All the Queen's Men, okay? All right, y'all, that's about it for now. I'm up out of here. Stay ruthless.